This is journal page 40, multiplying and dividing with rational numbers, number 1, section lesson 2.4. This is multiplying of fractions, our favorite thing to do. Negative 18 over 25. Okay, so I'm multiplying these fractions, so I just multiply across the top and I multiply across the bottom, but before I do, I look for any simplifying before I multiply. I know 9 goes into 9 once, 9 goes into 18 twice. Well, that makes things a little nicer. A negative times a negative gives me a positive. 8 times 2 is 16. 1 times 25 is 25, so 16 25ths. And the last thing I always do is check my sign. Same sign, positive, because we were multiplying. Number 2, negative 4 times 9/16. Well, negative 4 times 9/16 is the same as negative 4 over 1 times 9/16. I can simplify before I multiply. 4 goes into 16 4 times, 4 goes into 4 once. So now I have 1 times 9 is 9, 1 times 4 is 4, and I had one of each here, a positive and a negative, so my answer is negative. I can have that negative, negative 9 over 4. I could have the negative right out here in front of the fraction bar, negative 9/4. I could also have 9 over negative 4, although that's the form we would see probably least often. And it says simplest form. This is simplified. It's not in a mixed number. That's fine. We can keep it improper fraction as long as it's in simplest form. Here I have negative 3 3/7 times 2 1/2. I'm going to turn it all into fractions here. So 21 24 over 7, negative of course, and then 5 over 2, positive. Here, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 24 12 times. 12 times 5 is 60. 7 times 1 is 7. And I have one of each. I can go back to the original problem. One of each, a positive and a negative. Negative 60 over 7. Number 4. Negative 2 over 3 divided by 5/9. We rewrite that as negative 2 over 3 times 9 over 5. So inverted the second fraction and I turned it into multiplication here. Now I can simplify before I multiply here. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. I have one of each, so it's negative 6 over 5. Number 5. 7/13 divided by negative 2. Well, remember, negative 2 is the same as negative 2 over 1. So when I rewrite this, it all 7/13 stays 7/13. I turn this into multiply, and I invert this to get negative 1 over 2. No simplifying before I can multiply here. 7 times 1 is 7. 13 times 2 is 26. And I have one of each. So my answer is negative. Number 6. Negative 5 5/8 divided by negative 4 7/12. I'm going to go all improper fraction here, so 45/8, negative of course, divided by 48/55/12, again, negative of course. Now I have to keep the first one. We're going to turn this into the multiplication of the reciprocal, so multiply, and I get to flip this one. 12 over 55. 5 goes into 55 11 times. 5 goes into 45 9 times. 4 goes into 8 twice. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 times 11 is 22. And I have a negative times a negative, so my answer stays positive here. Number 7. Getting into decimals now. So 1 and 39 hundredths times 6 and 8 tenths. These are both negatives. Okay, we were on number 7. It's a multiplication problem of two negatives. 9 times 8, 72, 24, 31, 8, 19, 11, put a 0, 54, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 6, 7, 8. Two, 5, 4, 9. 3 numbers behind the decimal total up here, 3 numbers behind the decimal total down here. Negative times a negative is a positive. So 9 and 452 thousandths. Number 8, division problem. Negative 10 divided by 22 hundredths. That means the negative 10 is in the box. 22 hundredths is out of the box. Now remember, we don't divide with the decimal out here. We move that decimal 2 places to get rid of it by multiplying by 100. We move this decimal 2 places as well to keep everything the same. So that becomes 22 into negative 1, 0. And I move this decimal 2 places, 0, 0. Awesome. So 22 doesn't go into 10, but it goes into 100. 4 times, which is 88. Subtract 12, bring down the 0. 22 goes into 125 times, which is 110. Put a decimal. Put our decimal up here. Annex a couple of zeros. Subtract. Bring down. 22 goes into 100. 4 times, which was 88. Well, we see it's going to repeat here, but we do have to get our repeating behind the decimal, so let's continue this. 12, bring down a 0. 22 into 125 times. 110. Okay, so then it continues. So 45 and 45 hundredths, and that 45 is repeating. Now I did have a negative divided by a positive, so one of each, so my answer will be negative 45.45 with the repeating over the 45. Number 9. Another division problem. Yay, love the division problems. Makes me feel special that I can do them. It's a negative divided by a negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive. So at this point, I'm just going to ignore those. It's 12 and 166 thousandths divided by 1 and 54 hundredths. I have to move the decimal 2 places to get it out of my divisor here, so that'll be 154 into, moving it 2 places here. There we go. 154 goes into 1,216. 7 times probably. That'd be 28, 35, 37, 79, 10. 1, 3, 8, 6. Okay, so 138, so it was less than this. So that was right, 7. I'm going with probably 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45 plus that 3, 8, 9 plus 4, 13. Oh, yeah. 7.9. I did have one of each, remember, so it's a positive 7.9. And number 10, in a game of tug of war, your team changes negative 1 3/10 feet in position every 10 seconds. What is your change in position after 30 seconds? Well, let's see. So number 10, they change this much every 10 seconds. What is it after 30? So they'll do this 3 times. So negative 1 3/10 times 3. You could probably just do this mental math, but let's turn it into an improper fraction. 10, 11, 12, 13 over 10 negative times 3 over 1 equals negative 39 over 10. 10 goes into 39 3 times with 9 left over. And it was negative 3 9/10 feet. And you might think, well, you can't have a negative distance. But this doesn't say what was the distance. It says what was your change in position. And your change in position can be negative. Well, if you have any questions, please ask in class or comment to the video or come into tutoring. Whatever you need to do to get them answered. We'll see you later.